listening to the Nutmeg Arena by the Nutmeg Assist.
Hey guys, welcome to another episode of the TNA podcast brought to you by the Nutmeg Assist. Myself, Ritvik, the host of the show, and I'm joined by Nevin Thomas, who's been here before. We talked about European football, Indian football, and Chelsea in specific before in an episode. So, welcome back, Nevin.
Hi, Ritvik. Good to be back.
I mean, we talked about covering Indian football or the ISL before, and here we are finally waiting for the season to start on Friday.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, time flew, right? It feels like I talked to you just like a week back, and now we're already here. We've had like an IPL happen in between all that. A lot of sporting activities are finally back. But like finally our sport is back. I mean, cricket has had its share of the limelight. Now we're getting our sport back, and so that's very exciting times.
Exactly. Another season of ISL, another year for Indian football to grow. Grow is basically, I mean, it's a strong word. Grow is actually a strong word when it comes to Indian football, because we've been hearing that word for over a decade now, and there has to be a point where we hear something different. Okay, India has made it or something like that. So until then, we just have to keep up with this particular word. Yeah. And in this episode, we are going to talk about 5 players that Nevin's picked. I also looked from a data perspective. So we're going to talk about 5 Indian players who we think is worth keeping an eye on and who might take that next step in their career. So shall we start, Nevin?
Yes, let's do this.
And the first name that probably we want to start with is Kerala Blasters midfielder or winger or attacking player Rahul KP. When I talked about KP with Ilko Shatori, Blasters' previous manager, he had only positive words for KP. Although he didn't play a huge part last season, he played, if I'm not wrong, he played around 474 minutes or 252 minutes or something, I guess, if I'm not wrong. I don't exactly have, it's 474 minutes. And he got one goal in total. So it's not been like a very thrilling.
I agree. And I think we say the same thing about Sahal as well. Like if you look at Sahal in terms of statistics, that is purely in terms of goal contributions, he doesn't do so much, right? He's got like a couple of assists, 1 goal here and there. So exactly. The whole idea is that we are all building our hopes on what we've seen with our eyes. Last year we could do that. All like go to the stadiums and watch these players. With Rahul, unfortunately, his season was interrupted by a bad injury, and that really halted his progress. And I think halted a lot of Shatori's progress as well. I think the manager had to, change a lot of plans, switch to a 4-4-2, and you know what happened to Kerala Blasters last season. So
yeah,
I think Rahul has come back from the lockdown period all, ripped and like he looks like he's set to, really contribute. I mean, I think there are only 2 ways out of a long vacation. Either you come out like really fat or you come out like really fit. So thankfully, Rahul has come in the positive, with a positive outlook, and everybody involved with the club tells that, oh, this is the kid to watch out. Like, watch out for Rahul. I mean, your inside sources. And even I remember Darren Caldera speaking, I think tweeting on Twitter, of course, saying that he's the one to watch out. Like, I think Darren said, yeah, he's an exceptional talent. So here is a player who's seen a lot of Indian football, has spent early days with Sunil Chhetri, and like he's seen everything about Indian football, telling that Rahul KP is a player to watch out for. So I think that's like a very good, reliable source we have there. And I've also watched him at play for the Arrows, because at that point of time I was working with the I-League team. So I mean, since he's a Malayali player and we've got like our personal interest that way, I was always keeping an eye, and this guy had like the perfect combination of elegance and that desire to score a goal. So it wasn't just a lot of fancy triples and eye candy football. He also had that that final bit of desire to score. So I remember him outwitting like really good players with like some slick moves, almost pulled off a Burkampish sort of a move against, I think, Bangalore in the Super Cup. Don't quote me on this, but like that was one stunning move. And I think this is a season for Rahul. I think there is a lot of expectations, and now he's no longer seen as a young talent. Now we are looking at him as a mature footballer who is now, set to dominate Indian football. Till now, we've seen glimpses. He outpaced, I think, Udanta last season. So everybody's like, wow, he's got the pace. We've seen glimpses in terms of his scoring abilities, his desire to cut in from the wings, the ability to play as a secondary striker. So I think his versatility, pace, and everything makes him a very exciting prospect for Kerala Blasters. And I would be really surprised if Kibu doesn't, revolve his team around these young players like Sahal, Rahul, Nongdamba.
Yeah, and Eelco's worst last season was that, Rahul was a big miss. So that itself speaks volumes of how highly he's rated by his former coach as well. And his numbers aren't too bad, to be honest. XG looks like XG is 0.16 per 90 last season in the ISL alone, according to Wisecout. So it's not really bad. It's probably decent stats if you look if you look at it. And he's someone who likes to dribble. He likes to get the ball into the penalty area. So Gary Hooper is someone who would love some really good service. He's someone who doesn't take too many shots but converts it so well. So if you have Rahul delivering those crosses, those passes, final, that's somewhere that if Blasters can kick off so well in the final third, they scored a lot of goals last season under Eelco. Yeah. Defense was always the culprit, but they have to keep up that attacking part because Bart Ogbeche is no longer their player now. He's at Mumbai. So they need someone to replace Bart's goals, but I think if they make use of these young players, like you said, Sahal, KP, etc., so that would really, really help them, not feel the absence of part of Benzema.
Yeah, just adding to what you were saying, I think I'm hoping Rahul evolves into a wide forward. I don't want him to be that yet another winger who will put in those crosses. We've seen what happened to Danta. We've seen traits of it happen to Ashik. We don't want those classic wingers anymore. I'm a little tired. Let this fellow develop into a goal scorer, not just an assist maker. I think he has the traits for it. So let's see. Let's hope a Mane or like a Salah comes out of him rather than somebody who's just crossing the ball. So hopefully Kibu can unlock that potential in KP Rahul.
Yeah, when I looked at the expected assists and expected goals, it seems like expected goals metric is further ahead when you compare it to the expected assists. So yeah, it looks like a player who, when I've seen a couple of games as well, I've seen him go for that final thing instead of dragging the ball wide and trying to cross it like, say, Udanta. So yeah, hopefully he kicks on this season, and Rahul KP is the first player that we think is going to have a different season or a season where he really impresses, takes that next step. The second player that we are going to cover is Farooq Chowdhury. He played for Jamshedpur last year. This season, he plays straight for Mumbai City FC.
Yep.
What's your take on Farooq, Navin? I want to comment, but I just want to know your take first.
Yeah, what an exciting player. I think he started off last season as perhaps, if you look at the overall season, I think he was arguably the most exciting Indian player from last ISL. He was all over the place. Probably lacked that finishing touch for a forward, but cutting in from the wide areas, especially that left corridor. He really loved it. He was dominating. He was he was actually putting on a show as well. He wasn't just like we said, he's not just putting those crosses in. He was dribbling. He was taking on a lot of defenders and acrobatic scissor cuts that all kind of. He was putting on a show. I just hope that under somebody like Lobera, he can only evolve, right? So he's gone back to his state. This is a team that that should be really close to him. Under a coach that knows Indian football, has a history of developing very interesting attacking players. I think this is a perfect match, and I just hope that he can remain fit. I think that's going to be the key here. they're all amply rested, so that shouldn't be a problem. But like, I hope they've had like enough preseason and everything, like said, because I'm like, we've always said this. I think you've also discussed this. I think everybody in Indian football kind of accepts that it's going to be hard to replicate. So what we are hoping for is a lot of attackers to come together to give the same contribution as Chetri. And if that is the case, I think Farooq is going to be a very, very important player. I think, like we said about Rahul, I think Farooq is also an attacking threat. He's not just crossing the ball. He wants to cut inside and, he's a very versatile forward. So I think he'll be like a very important player. And I really hope, I hope I'm not jinxing it in any way. And I hope he get like a full season with Lobera because that's going to like really change him.
Yeah, I mean he's played various roles for Jamshedpur last season. I've seen him come into midfield, play even I think wing back at times in a single match. In the single match itself, he's covered a lot of area as well on the pitch, and he's had some really impressive touches in the penalty area. But you look at the touches in penalty area statistic or metric. In terms of Indian players who are under 25, he's in the top 5 players for touches in the penalty area. So he's someone who likes to get into the box very often. He's pretty much attack minded, likes to score goals. He got a few assists last season as well, and he has a decent short assists number, 0.41. XG is 0.19 for last season, 2019-20 season. So it's not bad. It's not bad. I mean, when you talk about Indian players, don't expect huge numbers like you see for European players or Asian players from big countries, but these are pretty also decent numbers.
I think the 2 factors here. I think the initial matches he had somebody like Sergio Castel and everybody fit. So that really helped him. And then you saw towards the second half of the season, Jamshedpur really fading with a lot of injuries, especially to their foreign players, which really took away a lot from him. So I don't know how the XG is done. Like, I'm really bad with the stats side of the game. But like, unfortunately, if you're going to like sum up his season, you probably have to like look at it like first half of the season versus second half of the season, where like you said, he had to even play like wing back and like multiple roles for that team to somehow, get 11 men on the field. So hopefully with under Lobera, who like we've seen with Goa, they score at least 4 or 5 in every match. So, and like with the likes of Ogbeche and everybody in that Mumbai side. And also, let's not forget the likes of Rainier, Rollin, everybody dominating the midfield. So he can just concentrate on the attack. And I'm expecting big things from him this season.
Yeah, definitely with players like Lefondre, Adam Lefondre, who's played for Reading before. Bart Ogbeche up front. I mean, even in the midfield, they have a strong team. And I mean, the point that you made is perfectly valid. And I think that might happen and we might see the best of Farooq this season. And he's even played for the Indian national team. So it's up to him to be that,
This honest admission, I never rated him highly before last season. I always thought like, oh, why is he in the Indian national team? It seems like he's neither a winger nor a forward, who didn't have the same, like the right kind of composure in front of the goal. So I always thought, oh my God, like this player is actually not good. But last season, he changed everything that I thought about him, and kudos to him. Okay, like that is completely on him, and he worked hard and he became that confident person. I don't know what clicked, what changed. Maybe the coach, maybe the change in cities, whatever. But like he came like a man on a mission, and I hope he can continue that. I hope it's not like a one season wonder, because he'll be like really vital for the international team setup.
Yeah, and yes, Farooq Chaudhary is our second player that we are going to cover today. Another player to keep an eye on, especially under a coach like Sergio Lobera, who is known to bring the best out of attacking players, play a wonderful brand of football. And with City Football Group taking ownership of Mumbai City FC, I mean, the future is only bright. So, yeah, Farooq Chaudhary is our second player. And third player...
Did that hurt as a Liverpool fan to say that?
Not too much. I mean, we're seeing a lot of foreign clubs taking interest in Indian clubs. We've seen Red Bull engage in a partnership with FC Goa, and hopefully that is taken to a next step in the next five years. Because if Red Bull takes full ownership of FC Goa, it's going to be a really, really exciting prospect.
Absolutely correct. Yeah.
And the third player that I want to mention is someone that you suggested, and this is someone who I have like no idea on. I've not watched him at all. Princeton Ribeiro. He's 20. She's 21, if I'm not wrong.
Yeah,
Or 20.
yeah, 20.
Yeah,
21.
2021. So I have no clue on how he plays. So Nevin.
Oh, he's a very exciting young midfielder from FC Goa Academy. I don't know if he's played in another club before that, but like definitely a Goan. And in fact, a lot of people were expecting him to break out last season under Lobera. But like Lobera actually went with a team that he trusted. And when you are a team with like surplus of talent, it's really difficult to break in, right? But like you saw Princeton coming in here and there in substitute appearance, and he looked perfectly fit for that midfield. So now with a set of players moving to Mumbai with Lobera, there is a new revolution there. My insight, so sources tell me that Princeton is a key part of the new coach's plans for FC Goa in the upcoming season. And he's an exciting, dominant midfielder, more of the attacking side, a central midfielder, not a winger. And I really like when players in that position develop for India, because I think we just tend to have a lot of fullbacks, a lot of wingers. That's a position where we always have a lot of talent. We want like central midfielders, center defenders, and strikers developing. And so I think Princeton is definitely one for the future, because he adds a little bit of, a steal also to the midfield, or gives that attacking outlet as well. So watch out, Anirudh Thapa and everybody else who is like eyeing for that central midfield spot in the national team. I mean, Thapa is a brilliant player, don't get me wrong. But I'm expecting Princeton to really, take the ISL by storm. I'm hearing a lot of brave predictions, obviously, from their camp. They're saying he's going to be the emerging player in the upcoming season. But that aside, I hope he'll get like a full season, because we want people developing in central midfield position. Like we want competition to the likes of Anirudh Thapa and Sahal and all that. Like I think if I was Sahal, I'd be like really afraid, because here is a very exciting midfielder. So yeah, I mean, definitely a midfielder to watch out for. The only thing with FC Goa is that, again, a lot of talented players coming in from their, teams, like the development teams and all. Yeah, so it's going to be crazy competition. I remember watching a little bit of Xavier Gama, exciting, fast winger. You have somebody like Makan Chote, who signed this season. Who else did they sign? They signed that... my God, I can't remember his name. The winger from Northeast United, who's also super exciting. So a lot of competition, obviously, there, but I'm expecting Princeton to break through. And considering he was already there last season. So this season, I think he is expected to like really dominate, or like at least hold a position in the starting 11.
Yeah, I mean, I actually looked at this data a little because I have no clue because I've never seen him play, but the data seems really, really promising. He's played just 74 minutes last season for Goa. Mm-hmm. I mean, I think the most he's played is 16 minutes against Jamshedpur, the Kerala Blasters, as well as Chennai, where Chennai won 4-1. So he's played 16 minutes in all these three games. The rest has been less than 10-minute appearances. So not much. But you look at his XG per 90, it's 0.27. Shot assists 1.22. He has 100% dribble success. He attempts 9.73 dribbles per 90. Offensive duels 10.95. He's won 89% approximately of his offensive duels as well. Almost 2.43 touches in the penalty area. I mean, the sample size is too less. But
of course,
so obviously you could see a hike, but again, you see numbers like this. I mean, it's not just in one particular metric or one particular department that the numbers are high. It's spread across in all the attacking areas. So this is something exciting, and I'm definitely going to be keeping an eye on him, since you mentioned, and I think the listeners here definitely.
Our job is to inform our audience of players who aren't famous, but like is likely to get famous. So
exactly,
I think this is on us that, hey, whoever is listening, please watch out for this player. And again, I am a little scared, okay, that I'll jinx players. So I'm just like touching wood and I hope he gets like a full season who like, completely injury free. So I think if you get a season like that, I think, yeah, definitely. Again, I don't know
Hopefully.
so much about the coach. We are just expecting it to be a continuation of Lovera's process. So hopefully,
Yeah.
if it's the same attacking football, then definitely he's going to play a role.
Yeah, FC Goa normally finds a placement who just works on progressively from the last
Yeah,
manager takes over, and I mean hopefully that's the process again, because they are a very exciting team to watch, and like you said, they bring out the best, some of the best players. And if I had to bet money on a player making it to Europe, I think a player from FC Goa would make it first, ideally, from what I've seen so far. So yeah, and yes, Princeton Rebello is our third player. We have two more players, and now we'll come to another surprising player. He is the youngest of the five that we have covered, Amarjit Kiam,
yeah. But like,
Jamshedpur.
I would actually say he is the least, or perhaps amongst the least surprising in that list, considering it's already like sort of cemented his position in the international team. I was there when he was
Yeah,
playing in the Intercontinental Cup, where Sunil Chetri asked him to lead the Viking Club. So that's the kind of respect the players have for him. Unfortunately, suffered an injury again, and hence his growth was stunted in some way. But again, whenever I talk to people in football and people associated with the team, what they say is that he's that hard worker. He just puts his head down and just works hard. He's got a mission. He wants to take this country. He wants to be the captain of this country. So he is a dominating midfielder. I mean, in size wise, he might not look so dominating, but that's the N'Golo Kante kind of a player. He's going to
yeah,
be a pain for the opponents. He's going to like keep challenging, and he's got a little bit of guile going forward as well. So I think he's a very exciting midfield player, and definitely one to watch out for. I mean, like I said, I think people know about Amarjit already. Unfortunately, didn't get a lot due to the injuries and stuff. But I hope he's fit, and I hope he's going to like take the league by storm.
yeah. And in terms of passing as well, he's got 83 to 84% pass success last season, and I'm taking the ISL as well as the national team appearances into count, even the under 18, even at the under 18 level, that as well. So it's actually promising. It's very promising. Like you said, he is already featured for the national team. He commands respect from the seniors in the side. So yeah, from the short description that you mentioned, he definitely looks like a player worth watching. And do you think Jamshedpur is the best pick for him?
You can look at it two ways. Jamshedpur isn't ideally the strongest team out there this ISL season. They've not like really gone big and like bought a lot of players. So they're really going to rely on their Indian players. There seems to be this belief that's the way going forward. So that way, it's an exciting project for them. They've got Aniket Jadhav, and Jackie is moved from FC Goa. Jackie is no longer a young player, but like there seems to be that seems to be their intention to sort of develop an Indian core and all that. So definitely 1 or 2 seasons he can play in Jamshedpur, but like if he has to evolve into a superb player, then he will obviously have to jump to the BFCs in Bangalore, Goa's eventually. But like let's wait and see. I think right now it's going to be difficult to move to one of these sides, considering the the fight there is for all those positions. So hopefully Amarjit will get like a full season with Jamshedpur where he can like really do stuff, be part of a. You remember last season with Odisha, they had like a thin squad, relied a lot on Indians, but it was very exciting for us, like as neutrals, to like really observe, and it was very very easy to like Odisha because they were playing a lot of Indian youngsters. So I think something similar is what Jamshedpur is looking for this season, and hopefully Amarjit will get like a full season.
Yeah, and based on the statistics last season, I think he looks like more of a defensive kind of midfielder
Of course.
who's solid defensively. So, I mean,
Yeah.
his defensive duel successes speak for itself. 61% success rate in defensive duels, 10, almost 10 and a half duels, defensive duels
He
every
doesn't
90
come across as
minutes.
like he's not a big tackler and he's an
Yeah,
annoying midfielder. He'll
yeah,
just, be with you all the day. He'll chase you down. He'll just, he's like a bad equivalent of a Hutch dog. He's going to come wherever you go. So I think,
hopefully a different version of Mehtab Hussain.
yeah, hopefully, that'd be brilliant. Yeah.
Yeah,
If you can develop into a meta, that'd be brilliant. Yeah.
great. So yeah, Amarjit Kiam is the fourth player that you should keep an eye on, and the fifth and final player is Ajit Kumar from Bengaluru. He is not very young. He's 24. So yes, Nevin, why Ajit?
Yeah, it's of course like I know we discussed this before the pod as well. Like why Ajit, and it's a of course like I think as journalists, as I don't know, producers, podcasts, whatever, we owe a certain like we have to also be a little risky in our guesses, right? We can't just say watch out for the say Rolling Borges or Chante
absolutely.
So I think Ajit will be very interesting because they've let go of Nishu. So BFC has a gaping hole in the left back position. Ashik was deputized in that role last season, but he clearly didn't enjoy that role of as a defender.
Yeah.
He's an out and out attacker. So if you look at it, I am expecting Ajit to regularly play for BFC, and BFC has a history of developing players like Beke, Cabra. All of them have sort of like really enjoyed, like really in the defensive half of it. BFC is a brilliant team. I've seen a lot of players develop there. So I am expecting him to like start. And mind you, when the national teams were being decided, I remember having a conversation with others also. I was not a really big fan of, say, Mandar playing left back. I know he plays there for FC Goa, but FC Goa's setup is to just attack. So a Mandar in that left back role wasn't too bad. But I always thought we needed somebody more, resolute. And Nishu was obviously a choice, but Nishu is also a player with he's a right footer playing as a left back. So in Ajit, I think they have a player who's played for Chennai City. Again, Chennai City is very clever with their recruitment. So you don't often see really bad players with Chennai City. If you're playing for Chennai City, there is obviously a lot of potential because the team is designed to sell. So they're going to play young players who are going to become something. So you saw Edwin step from Chennai City into Chennai, and he was superb last season. He was arguably one of the best players for Chennai last season, was vital in Owen Coyle revolution that happened in the latter half. So similarly, I'm expecting him to like really step up. Even like Susei Raj and all of them came from the Chennai City setup, right? So I'm expecting Ajit to be the next big thing from that area. Of course, as a defender, like you might not see him in a lot of matches because that's not a position that really like gets you a lot of attention, right? But if you can, in your debut, in your first season with BFC, if you can get a regular game time, I think that's a big success. And I think BFC has also been trying to plug that hole for a while now. So if it fits, it fits. And they've made the signing obviously thinking that he's good enough to fit that hole. So hopefully, again, I think this is going to be a very interesting signing. And I might even go the extreme route and say that if the Ajit signing doesn't really work out, BFC are in trouble because that means you have to then again use Ashik as a left back, and unless they've signed somebody else. But like I don't think BFC wants to go that road because they weren't a very attractive side last time around because they lost their balance. BFC was actually a very boring side to watch last time. They were just eking out victories and unusual defensive lapses here and there. So this is going to be like a very important signing. I know nobody's been talking about Ajit, but like I've been like secretly monitoring and thinking, oh, what a clever signing. This could really work out well.
I mean, you can definitely say that he has top level experience, the Asian AFC Champions League, AFC Cup as well with Chennai City. He's played there. He's played the top.
Those matches are like really one-off matches, so I don't think that is really count.
I mean, from
on paper, yes.
Yeah, on paper, yes. I mean that basically would kind of give him that extra push in confidence, maybe to try and make it at
I think
Bangalore.
the
And
biggest confidence for these players is the fact that Chennai City trusted them. So because
yeah,
that is a very one of the the most shrewdest team in the Indian setup. They are very clever. They only want to promote players that have a future. They don't want to promote deadwood, and they are not like putting out a team simply to win a cup. Their
yeah,
objective is to sell. So obviously you have talent if you're making regularly for you're playing regularly for Chennai City. You are a valuable asset then that can grow. So I don't know how it works in terms of stats, but like that is their policy. So obviously there's something about Ajit that really is good. And I remember hearing a lot of people say nice things during last season as well. Unfortunately, it was so difficult to follow I League last year with the very horrible broadcast. So
yeah.
I can't say that I've seen a lot of matches, to be very honest. This is a calculated guess more than anything else.
A calculated risk, probably.
Yeah. I mean, this is how we play FPL, right? This is the differential.
Yeah. You definitely have to get some guesses wrong as well, because that's part and parcel of this whole game. Yeah.
Exactly.
So that winds up the list of 5 players that we think you should keep an eye on. 5 Indian players that we think you should keep an eye on. Before we wind up, Nivin, we have like a Patreon question for you.
Okay.
It's from Patreon Dieter Van Gogh. Who do you think will be the most exciting team this season and probably have a chance to win the league?
Oh, exciting and win are, I think, 2 different answers. I think exciting is obviously going to be FC Goa. I mean, the team has always been designed to attack and like impress a lot of young Indian players. So, like, I would say Goa and Odisha are likely to be exciting in terms of especially for a neutral to watch and support. I wouldn't be surprised if ATK went on to win the actual thing because they've got like a massive squad, a lot of players, a lot of squad depth, proven winners. They've signed somebody like Sandesh Chingan also in the summer. So like really, that's just a perfect team there. So I would expect. I mean, I think early season billing would be for ATK and Mumbai City to win the title. In terms of it's just a squad depth and what they bring on the table. But I am expecting FC Goa and Odisha to impress, and for neutrals to enjoy. I think those 2 teams will be really fun.
Yeah, and one final question from Dieter again. Your pick for the top scorer, Roy Krishna again, or Bart Ogbeche, or Adam Lefondra, Gary Hooper? You have some really good international names as well.
Yeah, right. Roy Krishna seems super nice, but it again depends on how Habas is planning to use him. He was attacking he was taking up a wideish role last season. So I prefer if they can play a quite faster football that releases him, because Roy Krishna has so much pace to burn. I don't think he was being used so well last time around. So if they have figured out a way to use him, obviously he's going to be there. Ogbeche is so good. He's like fine wine. He's getting better with the age. So Ogbeche is definitely another prospect there. But let me be a proper Malayali here and just say Hooper is going to, win the, I mean, for all we know, Ogbeche played for Kerala Blasters last season. So you don't have to necessarily be part of a team that's winning the title to be the top scorer. And if Kerala is going to score a lot of goals, it has to be this person who's scoring. So just looking at it from a point of, who's going to score goals for what teams, every other team has 3-4 goal scorers. I think Kerala is really hoping for Hooper to bang in those goals. So I'm going to put my money on Hooper. Not necessarily money, that's a little too risky, but I'm going to just put a brave bet there. But what is your take? Who do you think is going to finish?
I'll probably go with either Lefondra or Ogbeche from Mumbai City FC because of Sergio Lobera.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
If they can become like Oro for Lobera in his FC Goa days, then definitely, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be interesting to see how he will, how he can set this team up because of the whole situation and stuff. Let's see. We'll find out as the season progresses. So
Absolutely.
that brings us to the end of this episode. It's been quite long than we expected, but it's been a really good episode and a start to a wonderful season as well. So thank you so much, Nevin, for joining into this episode.
It's a pleasure.
And thank you to all our listeners as well for tuning in. You can support us on Patreon if you love our content and if you want to reap some more benefits. So head over to our Patreon. The Nutmeg Assist is the name that you have to type on the search. So that's it. Until next episode. Bye bye. Take care.